We're here to experience Fair Play, your most recent project, which is a 3D video installation having to do with a very important moment in Sikh history.
It's a moment for all South Asians. The Komagata Maru was a ship that came in 1914 carrying 376 would-be South Asians to Canada. It stayed in Vancouver Harbour for 2 months. Except for a handful of people, 22 people, the other passengers were kept detained on the ship. Although Canada claimed that it was not detaining them, they were in effect detained by an armed guard, and Canada denied them entry on the basis of race. Essentially, the Canadian courts held that Canada did have a right to discriminate on the basis of race, hence the title of my installation, Fair Play, which refers to the myth of fair play within the empire. But fair play is also a kind of a pun for me because it's literally a play on the notion of whiteness.
I had a chance to experience it, and it really is a full-on experience. No vocals, no words, yet images and sounds that are very profound. They leave a lasting impression, and they really kind of give you an idea of what it was to, in some way, be a part of that moment in history. What sort of inspired you to create the project in this way?
I've been working with the Komagata Maru now for about 2 decades now. I did a major film called Continuous Journey, which had a wonderful effect of inspiring other artists, academics. I then wrote a book called Undesirables, White Canada and the Komagata Maru. I've been working in 3D cinema, and I've been doing some cutting-edge research with colleagues at York University where I teach for the past 5 years. So this was a great moment for me to pull together these 2 disparate strands of my life. Research in 3D cinema and this particular history of South Asian presence in Canada, which I love. And one of the things that 3D does is that not only does it become immersive, but it allows us to be in the presence of people, which is very different in 2D cinema where we see somebody on the screen. But in 3D, if it's done right, you feel their presence. And I wanted people to feel the presence of those who fought those battles for equality in Canada and made it possible for people like you and me to be here today. And also, you picked up on something that I really wanted to do, was to give people a kind of a internal meditative experience using impressionistic sounds.
For a lot of us South Asians who have been born outside of India or in places like Guyana, Trinidad, Fiji, we're not always connected to our history. Right. We may not know about it. Yeah. We may have not been exposed to it. Right. And the Komagata Maru has been an incident that I think a lot of the South Asian community doesn't know about until it started coming up in its centennial year and people were discussing it. So how relevant do you think this project is in bringing that history to the forefront again and educating the younger South Asians?
What I've come to recognize is that every little bit counts. Every little piece adds to a conversation that needs to happen. I feel fortunate that I played a significant role in starting the conversation around the Komagata Maru.
Do you believe bringing up again and creating that conversation around the Komagata Maru is challenging the idea of the cultural mosaic here in Canada?
It puts into context the idea of a cultural mosaic. Canada really had a cultural mosaic from the beginning, but it was a European cultural mosaic. However, since '67, when Canada dropped references to race in the Immigration Act, we now have a multiracial mosaic in this country. What work like this does, and what the Komagata Maru forces us to reflect upon, is that this wasn't always the case, and that the idea of equality in Canada is an ongoing project, and race is an ongoing discussion and a necessary discussion.